This is Malzberg's Spinning the Law with attorney Kendall Coffey.
Oh, I look forward to this every single week, and we welcome in our friend Kendall Coffey, a famed attorney, of course, author of a book by the same name, Spinning the Law. How are you, sir?
Doing great, and thanks again for having me.
Are you kidding? It's always our pleasure. Thanks for making the time. Now, it's funny. That reminds me of an Odd Couple episode where Felix is representing Oscar in some kind of silly court thing, and Felix is going on and getting all off the point, and the judge says, "Hurry up! I'm keeping killers waiting." Anyway, okay, so let's start with the federal judge striking down the Texas ban on gay marriage yesterday. He went, it seems to me, far beyond in his statement and decision what the Supreme Court decided, because he cited the U.S. Constitution yesterday and said that state-imposed inequality could find no refuge in our United States Constitution without a rational relation to a legitimate governmental purpose. Now, the Supreme Court of the U.S. didn't say that when they decided those two cases, did they?
No, but we're seeing this consistent momentum. There are similar decisions in Utah and Oklahoma and Virginia. The big news, or the key thing to look for, is that with respect to a decision to strike down the ban on same-sex marriage that was pending in the 10th Circuit, the U.S. Supreme Court put a stay on the decision, meaning that while all of this goes through the appellate process, the U.S. Supreme Court is saying, do not effectuate the order that strikes down the laws. Otherwise stated, no same-sex marriages yet until this plays out through the appellate process. That's significant because the Supreme Court does not ordinarily intervene in a case at that stage. It hasn't even gone to the 10th Circuit, which is the middle-level federal appeals court, and the Supreme Court said, hold everything with respect to these decisions, striking down the bans on same-sex marriage. So obviously, they think they have something to say about it, and no matter what district courts, which is the trial court level of the federal judiciary, say, this issue is clearly headed to the Supreme Court, and I don't think anyone can confidently predict what they're going to do at this point. The only thing they've said is, we, the nine of us, really need to look at this thing, and we're going to make the call here.
Yeah. All right, and I'm sure you're right, and it will go back to the Supreme Court, and if the makeup is the same, we'll see what they do. Now, Arizona Governor Jan Brewer yesterday, last night about 7:45 Eastern time, she vetoed that that bill, and I wonder what you think the repercussions would have been, legally speaking, if she had signed it, based on what you know of the bill. Would that have withstood judicial review, and how soon before someone went to court to try to, assuming she made it the law, how soon before someone could have gone to court and tried to stop it?
Well, there would have been legal challenges to it, of course, because the legislation you're talking about would have authorized business owners to, in effect, make decisions based on their religious rights, including decisions that could arguably discriminate against same-sex couples. You and I have talked about before situations where, for example, florists were fined because they said their religious beliefs prevented them from providing the flowers for a same-sex marriage. Similar cases with respect to photographers who felt for religious reasons that they simply felt they could not, based on their faith, participate in photographing a same-sex wedding. The bill that the Arizona governor vetoed would have provided a safe haven, a safe harbor for individuals attempting to exercise their religious rights with respect to same-sex couples. She vetoed it. It's not going to be the law. It doesn't mean that there can't be constitutional challenges when individuals are told that you have to photograph or you have to provide flowers to a same-sex marriage, no matter what your religious views are. the constitutional protection for religious freedom is still there and can be litigated. But this Arizona law would have given a statutory protection for religious freedom that has now been effectively erased by the veto.
Right, right. And there is no protection for gays, so theoretically, in Arizona, what the people who were against this bill were saying would happen, to gays and other groups, well, let's say gays specifically, in Arizona, they wouldn't be served food or they could be fired. Well, that's the case now because they're not a protected class there. So I don't, I think that was a little misleading on their part. But that aside, let's go to the ex-IRS official, Lois Lerner, a central figure in the IRS scandal. And I bring this up to you only because I just want to call on your experience, not to offer an opinion here, but to call on your experience. She is now been asked to testify again up on Capitol Hill, and her attorney says there'll be no Capitol Hill testimony without immunity or a court order. Now, the president has said in interview after interview, there was nothing here, not even an iota, a hint of impropriety, nothing, not even a minuscule bit. The media, Democratic Congress people have said, what scandal? That's done already. So I'm just asking you, if in fact those statements were true and there was no wrongdoing and no scandal and no nothing here, which the president himself, based on his own interview, led everyone to believe, not even a hint of impropriety, then should someone need immunity or a court order to go up to Congress and testify about said events, said circumstances, or said so-called scandal, if there's no scandal according to the president?
Well, if you're invoking the Fifth Amendment, it means that you have a good faith belief that you could be exposing yourself to criminal prosecution, that you could be saying something that's incriminating. So while it is absolutely true, Steve,
but not only the Fifth, not the Fifth, that's a constitutional right, but to say that they won't come unless there's a court order, and to say that they won't testify or will take the Fifth unless they get immunity, doesn't that, by implication, those two things put together, again, when we're told that this is nothing by the President of the United States, doesn't it imply that there might be something?
Taking the Fifth Amendment implies that the attorney who's advising you to take the Fifth Amendment think there may be something to it. Yeah. Doesn't mean you're guilty.
No, I'm not saying that, yeah.
You take the Fifth too, but it means that there's something out there that you're concerned about.
All right, one more for you. This capture of the Mexican drug lord El Chapo, we only have about a minute and a half left. The U.S. wants him, and Mexico wants him. The U.S. wants to try him for stuff he's done in Illinois, especially Chicago. So how does this get determined? I mean, does this have to be an agreement between the two countries? How does it work?
Well, the countries have to agree. Mexico's got him, and extradition. Of course, this guy's got a right to fight extradition, just as anybody does. But if Mexico doesn't want to turn him over, they don't have to. They can certainly remember he escaped from a prison sentence he was already serving, so they could put him back in there to finish his prison sentence, prosecute him for everything else in the world. That's probably what's going to happen. If they send him to the U.S., and there are a bunch of different federal prosecution offices that want to get their hands on him. They'll be competing, and Maine Justice will decide. But I think it's looking like Mexico. He's a huge prize for Mexico, and they may want to keep him there.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Kendall, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Hey, Steve, thank you.
Take care. Kendall Coffey, ladies and gentlemen, as we were, you know what we were doing there? We were spinning the law. Spinning the law. Check out that book. I mean, Kendall Coffey was involved in Bush Gore in the court battle there in 2000. He was involved in the Elian Gonzalez case. So many great cases that Kendall Coffey's been involved in, all in that book, Spinning the Law. It's, several years old now, probably 4 years old now, but check it out. Interesting read, I'll tell you that. All right, folks, we're coming back. And in the next hour, exclusive interview with Barack Obama's half-brother on the day where he announces Brother's Keeper. Steve Malzberg's show.